and let the Monday morning Super Bowl hangover ruckus begin. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne. I want to welcome you to Things You Might Have Heard, where we're about to bring you yesterday and actually 2 other days, the whole weekend's worth of latest in information, politics, current events, and pop culture. And we call ourselves a go-to source for unconventional news stories. That's why we dubbed ourselves your news side piece. And we've been doing this thing for a while in this form, about a year or so, and we're glad to have you around, and we're going to give you the best we can, because some of these stories are being missed by the national anchors, even though national news is covering all of it. It's only so much time, so much effort, and you have to cover the big things, so we cover some of the little things in those places. As a teaser graphic shows, is all about Lady Riri today, so we'll get to her in just a moment, but there's also 9 other headlines to talk to, plus fun stuff at the end. We'll explain how you told us what to talk about in the feeds and voting things up in just a bit. Around, give us about 12, 13 minutes to finish the headlines, and we'll do that right there. But you do vet the stories, and then I choose from what stories. We picked from the top 30 stories from the past weekend, and I pulled down 10 in line to give you to you right now. And some of these are more important than others, and they're in no particular order, although the top stories are literally the top stories of the day, we'll say that much. For more information about what we do all over the place for the Conversation Project, is very simple. Go to our website. This is theconversationproject.com. 10 headlines, all vetted by you, and of course, curated by me directly. Let's get into the headlines now. Starting off with this one right here, and it's pretty much all people are talking about. Yeah, so last night there was a football game, and the Chiefs won, and Patrick Mahomes is going to marry to Travis Kelsey or something like that. But what people are really talking about is this headline right here, poorly copied in the quick response. Rihanna pregnant, expecting second baby with ASAP Rocky Super Bowl halftime. Yes, poorly written headline, but we pulled it as we were kind of going along and went with this one. Not the top story, but pretty darn close what's going on. And of course, it actually overblew all the coverage, all the response by you of actual Super Bowl things, including a player for the Kansas City Chiefs who had twins the morning before. Now, this actual conversation, the whole thing happening, literally came out to almost a knockdown, throwdown with me and my wife. And I think divorce lawyers may be called sometime today, as we watched the response, and we got the thing where she says, "Is that a baby bump?" It's like, no, she's probably just wearing a big jacket. I think she's pregnant. Didn't you just have a baby? Yeah, that was like 8 months ago. Like, isn't that like a hard thing to do? Apparently, it's not a hard thing to do. ASAP Rocky and Rihanna are expecting their second child 8 months after giving birth to the first child. And of course, 4 years or maybe 5 years since Rihanna actually did a live performance. So there was a lot going on. And of course, in the background, there was all this talk about who was going to be the special guest she teased. She teased a special guest for the performance, and it was baby number 2, wrapped up in a big old blanket while she was wearing a leather bodysuit, but still carrying a baby that's so many months in tow. No one knows how how well developed she is at this point. We just know that 8 months ago she had a baby, and a while back she didn't look like she had a baby, and then no one saw her for a bit, and now she's about to have another baby. Of course, the other thing that people worry about is, where does the Eagles gear go since they didn't win the Super Bowl? I always wonder about that. It becomes a running joke of what third world country actually gets that gear from championship stuff. And so we'll be looking around for various documentaries of people wearing, Eagles 2023 football champion gear, so we can pick that out in the future. If you can get your hands on that stuff, that's collector's item stuff right there. So let's get on to the next thing, which is actually kind of important. Military shoots down another high altitude object over Lake Huron, officials said. We had about 5 or 6 different postings of unidentified objects in the sky over the weekend, including the one that actually got the most response was when this particular object, was over Lake Michigan. The airspace was shut down because it was floating in the airspace of commercial traffic. Now, to do a big overdraw of the explanation, the original Chinese air balloon we shot down last week, that we waited to go all the way across the country, was never in any danger of being hit by anything, because it was way higher than it needed to be. It was a couple of 100,000 feet above where air traffic is, and just sort of floated there and out of the way. These other objects, the 3 that popped up, I think one was in Alaska, one was over Canada, and this one they fired over Lake Huron when they shot it down, were essentially in airspace. And so NORAD looks for things that are in the way that can be a problem for planes, like birds, like drones, like regular balloons, like 99 red balloons just floating in the sky, things that could be in the way They whittle down things that are really too small, really too detailed, and when they're looking for real threats, these things are coming to be a threat. Apparently, I mean, we shot down 3 in 3 days. So apparently, this is going to be a thing. There'll be somebody sending us balloons to shoot down over our lands, both Canada, so far Canada and us. Nothing's been on the southern border yet, but all the missile silos, all the things that are the really top secret stuff, the things where they can kind of get reconnaissance from are up there in the north, where there's not a lot of people, not a lot of land, and really, really frigidly cold. So there's not a lot of folks around to deal with that stuff. We'll see if balloons are our latest threat. I joked about that Friday. Apparently, they are our latest threat is balloons. Speaking of balloons, but Megan Fox deletes all photos of Machine Gun Kelly as she shares cryptic, dishonest lyric. Megan Fox deleted all her photos of Machine Gun Kelly from her social media profile and shared a cryptic caption in the most recent photo. Several fans commented on MGK's Instagram post, including Rocky for you, rooting for you always, but especially if it means that it sounds like it means. Poorly read, but he's Machine Gun Kelly, so who knows what the hell he was talking about. MGK hasn't posted in 2 weeks, and his last post was a collection of photos from a wedding and inside a private plane. Megan had previously said she manifested the rapper into life. They are weird. MGK was said to be showing several red flags, including smashing a wine glass onto his head while live on stage. Megan wanted to break from Colson and his drama. Source said in Heat magazine, I guess Colson is his real name, Machine Gun Kelly. Mama didn't name him that, I guess. So Megan Fox had a cryptic tweet, cryptic sort of posting, but pulls all the pictures of her crazy man that goes with her crazy, Machine Gun Kelly. I think they wear each other's blood or something. It's all sorts of, I don't know what's up with these kids these days. It's weird. They're weird. You guys love it. We're talking about it because trust me, you guys voted this one very high. Another one you voted very high, which I'm kind of glad you did because it brings us a chance to show these people for who they are. Rep. Jim Kelly criticized online after saying only Americans should vote in American elections. Now, he wasn't the only really bad guy to say dumb things over just stupid stuff. We had a lot of tweets over the weekend or yesterday during the musical selections of what happened in the Super Bowl. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, we'll probably talk about them later, but we did our Super Bowl thing already. Just saying dumb stuff. Jim Jordan, who is, of course, a Republican from Ohio, caused a stir on Twitter when he said Democrats in Washington, D.C. were, quote, ridiculous for supporting a decision allowing non-citizens to an opportunity to vote. Several people responded to Jordan tweet criticizing lawmakers' take, while others, went for it because that happens. 4 Republicans and 8 Democrats did not vote on a joint resolution ending non-citizen voting. The House passed a second resolution that overturned D.C. bill that reduced criminal penalties. So this is a bigger deal than it, seems on top of it. So I need you to go read the story and go check out the bill and see what's happening. This is not, just folks wandering in from Mexico, going a vote and walking back across the way. That's not what's actually happened, which is what Jim Jordan is saying. These are people who have put in roots here in the United States and have been working for a while and have all the basic rights of a person who lives here, except the final citizenship. So should they have the right to vote? That's a very good question. Jim Jordan, and being Jim Jordan, who has many other issues he probably should be worrying about, should probably keep his mouth shut and let things go. Jim Jordan, being Jim Jordan and being who he is and having other things to worry about, will not keep his mouth shut and let things go. Meanwhile, New Mexico State's men's basketball program is suspended over hazing allegations. The New Mexico State University was suspended its men's basketball program after hazing allegations. The coaching staff has been placed on paid administrative leave as the conduct of the Aggies investigations official out. In November, Mike Peask was wounded in a fatal shooting at the University of New Mexico, on campus. A basketball game between the two in-state rivals was postponed then, and deeper things show that maybe things went a bit too far in the process of bringing in the new recruits. We're going to see more about this as more gets allotted to the media, but in the public. But this is a bad thing. Let's move on to yet another one. Here's one that actually made our church roster yesterday morning in a sermon that was about overcoming or kind of coping with death and sudden death, things like that. Teen falls 30 feet to her death while hiking the Moab Rim Trail. A 70-year-old girl fell to her death while hiking with friends in Moab, Utah, police said. A search and rescue crews arrived quickly and climbed to the area above the victim, but she had already died from the fall. Grand Canyon County Sheriff's, Grand County Search and Rescue, Moab Fire, and EMS were involved in the rescue efforts. The Grand County School District said it was grieving with Zoe's family and would provide love and support to the community and the students. That's the simple story. A teen out hiking with some friends falls, slips, and dies. We send prayers to Zoe's family as well and all the people involved in this one, especially the first responders who arrived on the scene as quickly as possible, but arrived on the scene where they knew they were of little help, of little use at that point. Let's move on to another story. It's Britney, bitches. Britney Spears blast report about intervention. Quote, "It makes me sick to my stomach. It's even legal for people to make up stories. I almost died." Unquote. So Britney Spears took to social media to respond to tabloid reports that her family and friends tried to stage intervention after concerns for her well-being. Britney Spears is taking matters into her own hands, posting on Instagram to slam the reports that she is taking, quote, meds to hype her up, unquote, but are not taking, quote, medications that stabilize her, unquote. The quote before, makes sick that people make up stories that almost died. Spears posted a video caption to her video in which she said she does not have a management team, medical doctors, a planned intervention. She also addressed her use of medication being brought up in the media. She's tired of y'all. And you know what? I'm kind of tired of her too. So if Britney Spears could kind of go away, that would be great. Unfortunately, many folks are big fans of Britney. Many folks are going to her shows. Many folks are supporting her for her talent, which they should. And many folks, whether they're in her business or not, whether they know her or not, are criticizing these things because that's what people do. We judge. It is what it is. People do weird stuff, and we still pay money to go see them despite the weird stuff. For Britney, we're going to see if an actual intervention comes about. Probably not. But if she's going to sort of wind herself down soon as we pray that the best for Britney. Sometimes the praying of the best for people doesn't get the best for people. Here's a story that I think is a great one. Linkin Park announces Meteora 20th anniversary edition shares Lost single with Chester Bennington vocals. Linkin Park recorded Lost for Meteora, but it didn't make the final track when they released it. The band has rediscovered the track and Bennington's intensely riveting vocals. And so with the release of the 20th edition of that album, they're going to put that single on the big edition. Check it out. A big Linkin Park fan, so I'm going to be looking for it when it's out there, and I'm probably going to be blasting that in my car to the chagrin of my daughter, who thinks basically any music made before 2018 is old and stupid. And those are her words, not mine. I think it's freaking awesome. Let's go to this one. IRS warns taxpayers to hold off on filing returns in 20 states as it checks if it can tax special refunds. This is a story that's been around for a while, but this is the first time we got to it. It was filler, to be honest, and you guys responded to this because apparently Super Bowl means tax times. A lot of people, when asked about the Super Bowl plans, they put down taxes. Non-football fans, I guess. But the IRS is letting taxpayers in more than 20 states hold off on filing their taxes because they have to figure out how about states that gave special tax refunds. So special money can be made as tax refunds. 20 states gave basically money back that was unspent from the pandemic purposes that were out there for emergency purposes that did not need to be done. And they just gave it back to people in various ways. Some ways may be taxable. Some ways they may not be. So the IRS needs to study those 20 states and those 20 ways and see how it goes. There's also a bunch of different things in play, including things like payments via Venmo and PayPal for folks at side gig and things like that. That's in the links as well. So we have to see how this works out. So 20 states, check out the link, check out the IRS's website, and you find out if your state's in the listing. Mine is not, so I can go ahead and find my taxes. I'm just lazy go to see if there's a delay, to see if there's extra money coming to you. Very sad one to wrap this thing up. Angry mob lynches men accused of blasphemy in Pakistan. Now, this is one that shows that there are still people unlike us, and you can think of us anything you want to, and that's normally not a bad thing. There's also ways and means that people do in different ways based on different cultures that don't jive with us, just like things that we do that make other people think we are weird. And your we can be Americans, your we can be something for culture, your we could be Cowboys fans because everybody thinks Cowboys fans are weird. On a serious note, let's get into the story and go into it and just sort of narrate it very quickly as we move on. This is the last story for the morning. A man identified only as Juarez desecrated pages of the Quran and threw them around in a rural district of Nankana. An angry mob of hundreds stormed the Warburton police station and lynched a man for blasphemy. The police, with the help of saner people in the area, foiled the attempt to burn his body. Pakistan government has been long under pressure to change its blasphemy laws, but other political forces have strongly resisted. Juarez was arrested in 2019 on the way by a previous blasphemy charge and was in prison until mid-2022. People who saw the desecrated Quran grabbed him and started beating him, but police rescued him and took him into custody. For those who are not watching the video, who are listening to this in the podcast and audio, it was a big sigh. Here comes a pause for effect, and we're going to move on to our teaser story. So we're going to just pause, take a moment, and then move on. Moving on to the teaser story for this morning, which could be the teaser story for tomorrow, essentially. We could talk about this if this is what you want to talk about, if you vote this up in the feeds. Man sues Delta after visibly intoxicated, that's a quote, woman touches his thigh, asked to, quote, lay on top of him during the flight. We should pause for effect for that one as well. This actually happened. A man is suing Delta Airlines for this thing. This is a article in Meow. So it's, sometimes it's tongue in cheek. Sometimes you're kind of like, really? Apparently this really happened. And we can talk about this if you deem this conversational tomorrow. Go to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/this is a conversation project and Twitter.com/th_conversation. All you have to do is keep watching those feeds, keep going to the websites, and keep watching our pages every so often. Every 50 minutes, we post a news headline. This is a 24/7 operation. You get a new headline every 50 minutes that you can read, which we hope you do. And this is how we feed into you the conversational things that you can vet. You can like them, love them, hate them, share them. You engage in the stories based on however the function you work on. Or Twitter, you just like it and you share. Facebook, you have the different emoji things to do for that. The more engagement a story gets, the higher score it gets in the day. Today, we gave you 10 stories cut from the top 30 stories from over 90 stories that came out over the weekend. For the rest of the week, Tuesday through Friday, there'll be about 30 stories every single day. And we'll pull those top 15 and we'll take 8 of those stories to present for you going down the line. So the next 8 stories could be up to you. If I pick a story, but it's not the story that you like, respond in the comments, respond in the videos, respond via email, and let me know what stories I'm missing. We'll go back and see if it's a one that actually stretches to the next day or there's an update. We can go forward on that one. We can kind of fix that. Today's main sponsor is Grammarly, and we want you to check them out because they take good care of folks. They've been taking care of me for quite some time. Grammarly is a spell check program, and it is not an AI program, at least not yet. But before AI was all the rage, there was basically algorithms and things posted in various programs to just look for various spelling and grammar areas, and also things like plagiarism, things like that. Grammarly has been doing that for years. It's been a major staple on college campuses. It's been something I've been using in my writing for maybe, if it's a decade old, it's just that old. As soon as I heard about Grammarly, I've been using it for my copy at work when I was doing radio, for the copy I do here, the long form things, my blog posts. Grammarly runs through everything. It has add-ons that go to Microsoft Word. It has add-ons that go to my web browser so I can check my spelling and my grammar inside of things I write in the browsers. It is just wonderful. And I just copy paste things into it as I do major work and just work through the big interface on the website. Check out Grammarly today and start getting your words looking much prettier. Go to thisisaconversationproject.com/Grammarly. This is a conversationproject.com/Grammarly. This is an affiliate link. So as you go there, you will see that when you buy something, we get something back as a referral to bring you in there. Don't let that scare you away. Don't let the price scare you away. Grammarly has been a bit expensive, but at times, it's either doing this or paying some other subscription. This one gets me through a lot more stuff, and the haggard of whatever tool that other using is not worth it for not having Grammarly. I cannot operate. I cannot live without Grammarly. Very quickly, as we are hitting past the 20-minute mark today, this is a conversationproject.com is our home, our main website where we lives on the web. Find out more about what we do in total at that website. You can find links to various ways to get this content, whether email form, whether audio form, whether video form, in live or by Memorex. You can get other links to other programs to do, other things we produce, and you can also check out other sponsors and partnership opportunities. If you think we're giving you some good content, let me know, and you can just follow those links as well. Going to just remind you right now that even though we've gone long, you can go to, you can become a weekly or a monthly sponsor via our partnerships page via buymeacoffee.com. All those things are there as well. And you can help keep this things going and maybe help me get a little assistance so we can start these things on Monday on time and find some extra tools so I don't have to pay Grammarly and not pay Paul or whatever going forward. If you think we're doing pretty good, let me know. Just let me know. And if you think we're doing really, really good, help me out. That is my ask of you. Now, the fun stuff. Today, things include birthdays on today, February the 13th, 2023. It's the first time I went full screen. I didn't realize my beard was so scraggly this morning. Should have did extra combing. Stockard Channing. Love me, Stockard Channing. She is my favorite pink lady and my favorite TV first lady. Stockard Channing was like 40 years old. Maybe not quite that old, but pretty old when Grease came out, playing a teenager, Rizzo in that one. And of course, played the vice or the first lady to President Bartlett on the West Wing way back when, turning 79 years old today, still doing great work in many things. And so she'll probably pop up in something fairly soon. Jerry Springer, who right now I think is all he's doing is a Judge Springer thing, but the former mayor of Cincinnati who got busted for writing a check to a prostitute and turned that into a highly successful, crazy scripted talk show where people threw chairs at each other. He's 79 years old as well. He also hosted a bunch of things, but the biggest thing he's known for is the Jerry Springer Show and launching the spinoffs of that. And of course, the people who remember his true origin story, writing a check to a prostitute, because we all know you don't write checks to prostitutes because you don't need that paper trail. Also, who goes to a bank to cash a check these days? It's one of those things. And Neil MacDonald, that steely-eyed, evil looking man, 57 years old on the day. Today is Galentine's Day. Galentine's Day, the day before Valentine's Day, where your gals get together and celebrate themselves. If you're going to have a big date night on the 14th, have a big night with your girls the night before on the 13th, Galentine's Day. Other days for consideration, if Galentine's Day is not quite in your wheelhouse, include such things as, it's also Flirting Week because it's Valentine's Day. There's also International Natural Day. Take that as you want to. Get a different name day. Not sure how well it works, but here you go. Employee Legal Awareness Day. There's out there. Clean Out Your Computer Day. Not going to happen. And Crab Ragoon Day. Also mentioned Football Hangover Day before. It's also Oatmeal Monday, Tortellini Day, and I guess Cheddar Day. So get you some cheddar cheese, have some crab ragoon, and hang out with your gals on Galentine's Day. That's an idea right there. Now, today in history, let's go back to 1866. Jesse James and his gang committed the first armed bank robbery in United States history during peacetime in Liberty, Missouri. Now, that's the kicker. During peacetime, it was not during some time of war where somebody was holding someone up to fund, a war of some sort. The very first armed robbery in peacetime in Liberty, Missouri. Of course, night his last. And finally, one more thing you might not have heard. A survey that really didn't need to be happening, but it happened. In a survey, 87% of men said they liked women to be curvaceous and the right weight for her height. Just 8% preferred thin, bordering on underweight women, while the remainder liked voluptuous, a word I always mess up, females. The response was almost identical among women, which was 88% thinking curvaceous, would prove more of a turn on for men. So here's the thing. This was a survey by men and women on how men like their women. And the women responded just like the men in the response from the survey. Now, this isn't science, this is survey. This is, and a lot of times, this may have been men and just, or women thinking that men like this. So that's what they're saying they're liking. So there's really no real correlation. But from the survey, you get this survey. Like it, love it, hate it, whatever. This is the news we have for this morning. Survey says that men like women with curves. Survey that didn't have to happen. Literally didn't have to happen. In the meantime, let's wrap it up for today. And today is Monday, the 13th of February, 2023. My name is Jay Cleveland Payne. Thank you so much for being a part of today's show. No matter how well you enjoyed it or not enjoyed it, or whether I basically cheese you all off at the end of it, because I basically pissed myself off with that survey because I don't know, feminism. Thank you so much for being a part of the show and sticking around with us for the extended version for Mondays. We do more stuff because there's more days to cover. I want to make sure quickly remind you to stay hydrated, stay limber, and stay on task for all the grand things you have to do. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. Go get your flowers, go get your chocolates, go get your gifts now, so you're not at the store fighting people last minute for stuff. Or try Flowers Fast at thisisaconversationproject.com/flowersfast. And they may get your flowers tomorrow on time. I would not bet on it. Go ahead and do that right now. In the meantime, we'll do this again tomorrow. Less stories, a little less time, a little more faster pace, and usually less glitches in the matrix getting the data get done. It's more data to sift through, so it takes a little longer to get through. So we're running a little late. We always apologize. But we're going to do our best to do a better job tomorrow, because we always work for a little bit better tomorrow. And in the meantime, have a great today. That's all I can ask of you.